fun opportunity for me, and kind of showed me what life looks like outside of teaching. So if teaching isn't what works out for me, I can look at other opportunities too. So it was important for me to consider those too. And then through my work as a West Nile virus technician, I was able to obtain my public pesticide applicator's license. There you can see me in all my glory, spraying pesticides, killing bugs, what I do best. And then some other certifications and accreditations I have. I'm an accredited parliamentarian through Dr. Foster's Parley Pro class. These two pictures here and here were from a workshop I facilitated with some classmates. So that was really fun to get out and do that. That was like 2 years ago. I totally forgot I did it. And then I have my NSCMOP certification. So I can instruct, I think it's 14 and 15-year-olds to safely operate tractors. So that's great. I'm also CPR certified. And then looking more abstract, I'm going to talk about who I aspire to be as a teacher. So looking at classroom management. Let's start. So I made this poster. I'm super proud of it. I thought I came up with the bee idea, but it turns out there's like 4 other people in the cohort that did the bee thing. So that's really unfortunate. I was like, Dylan saw it happen. I was so excited about my bee idea, and then Carson was like, yeah, Jen and Timmy did that. And I've never been so heartbroken in my life. But basically, I have it divided into be safe, be present, be responsible, and be respectful. So I tried to make these expectations as vague as possible, because then I feel like I cover a lot of bases. So basically, being respectful can cover about a zillion things. Being respectful is being quiet while another student's speaking. Being respectful is raising your hand, not being obnoxious. So I just made them very vague so that I can refer to them pretty much for anything. Yeah, so those are my expectations. And then looking at my class procedures, I don't think you can read all of them. But basically, these just lay out procedures for students as they enter the classroom. So enter with all your materials, turn in your work, pick up supplies, bell work, participate and collaborate, and leave better than you arrive. So my idea behind procedures is that I want strong procedures in my classroom. A lot of the time when you're starting class, there can be kind of chaos going on in the room. People are asking you what you're doing today. That kid missed class yesterday is trying to figure out what's going on. So having strong procedures kind of covers my bases on the other students, taking care of their business while I'm taking care of my business. So I definitely want that to be a strong aspect in my classroom. And then unfortunately, I have to do consequences because things don't always end up as cute and gorgeous as you would like. So consequences are a reminder, a warning, detention, phone call, and an office referral. So I want to manage behavioral issues in my classroom as much as possible. I'd like to avoid involving people outside of the classroom at any cost, because that not only discredits my credibility towards the students, but it's just annoying. So yeah, hopefully I don't have to use them, but they're there and they're there for me to reference to my students. So welcome to the barber shop. This is my.
I like that.
Thomas gets credit. I did not come up with that. Thomas gets credit for everything, honestly. But this is another part, or a part of my comprehensive lab integration plan. This is just a visual of what I would aspire my future setup to look like. Yeah, we've got a shop in the classroom, a storage room, a teacher FFA office. Yeah, I just thought I'd include it because I liked it. So then thinking more about my ideal program, I would start with an introduction to ag class. That would just give kind of all ag students a sampling of what they'll be learning in my classroom. And then from there, they can choose 3 different pathways. Like I said before, environmental science is my favorite kind of thing. So I would have natural resources and animal agriculture ecology. And then students could do plant animal science and ag mechanics. I would ideally like to be in a multiple teacher program, especially as a young teacher who was not in FFA in high school. I feel like being in a multiple teacher program would definitely help me on that learning curve, maybe one day be on my own, but probably not to start. And then FFA integration in my future program, I would like my students to be as involved as possible, but ultimately I want it to be student driven. So I want students to come to me with activities they want to do, events they want to participate in. It is the students' program, it's not my program. So I really want to focus on that. And then I also want to help them with CDEs as much as possible. You know, kind of putting a whisper in their ear, I guess, saying like, hey, you'd be really good at this kind of thing, whenever possible. And then SAE integration. I would like every student to have an SAE just because I feel like they're a very important part of that 3-circle model and necessary to complete that 3-circle model. And then I would regularly visit those SAE sites. So that would be like if a student is working at a feed supply shop, going there and seeing how that works for them. And then just mentoring them and giving them ideas how they can improve their SAE and things of that nature. So this is my comprehensive lab integration plan. I don't know if you can see it on the Zoom, whatever. So this is a Mason bee house. So yeah, I think my favorite thing about this project would probably be that it connects across multiple classrooms. So as I said before, ag mech is not my thing. I don't really understand that stuff, not really my vibe, but I'm more interested in environmental sciences. So then just tying in like the ecology behind bees and the impact they have on our environment is really helpful. I think there's a lot of students that using these connections across the curriculum can be what gets a student interested in woodshop, for example. The student interested in environmental science could, you know, spark interest in woodworking by doing this project. This project was supposed to cost $15. It cost me $40. So that's great. It cost my mother $40 actually. And then looking how I would use this in a classroom, I could definitely scale it down if I wanted to. But yeah, I just made it like big because I guess I can. This could also be sold as like a project for students, or they could use it as an SAE, like tracking their mason bees and how that impacts like a pollinator garden. And then looking at my community, as Anderson said, your ag program is only as strong as the community that supports it. So looking at my future program, I want to be as heavily involved in the community as possible. This could look like community members being on my advisory board, or just students getting involved in the community. Getting involved in the community through volunteer work, or just helping out at events. So yeah, community is very important to me, and I think it should be very important to every ag program. So I have this recruitment video. I don't think I'm going to be able to show the whole thing.
Welcome back to the Fuji Apple Ag Department. We're live here at the news desk wondering why you haven't joined yet. You know, in a few brief moments, we're actually going to kick it to our reporters on the field, which due to staffing shortages also includes me. But this is Mr. Gable, about ready to give you the case as to why you should be a part of the Fuji Apple Ag Department. We're out here as field reporters now. Once again, staffing shortages kind of hard. Once again, I'm Mr. Gable. I'm joined by
Ms. Barbour and Ms. Hogline.
Right now, we're going to walk you through our class offerings.
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Barbour and I work with the Animal Science program. Our Animal Science program is very hands-on, as you can see with Ms. Shamu here. I don't know about you guys, but I consider myself an animal person. So this class is basically focused on how we use animals every day and how we can care for them better. And yeah, just get to spend more time with the kitty cat.
Hey everyone, Miss Hallblight here, and I want to explain a little bit about our plant science department. So in our plant science department, we would get really involved with the community. We have a bunch of fundraisers where we can go out, grow actual plants to sell, and then we can also do a lot of things with experiential learning in our plant science department. Plants are super important, not only for the environment, but for our consumption as well. And we get to do awesome things like not only grow plants, but learn a little bit about them, what makes them tick, and what makes them not tick.
Mr. Gable back at you. We're talking about our Ag Mechanics program with one of our courses specifically focusing on carpentry. And overall with our Ag Mechanics program, everything we do is focused on how can we just fix things ourselves. You know, there's different projects that we could do at home, and man, we got the tools and the brain power to show you how to make fun projects come to reality at home.
Ooh, hot. Just like our food science program. Do you like food? Me too. Need I say more?
You're like, oh,
So you
It is now.
okay. So yeah, just in terms of recruitment, just getting out there with students, and like this video in a fun way, that's not super serious. Yeah. So then next I want to talk about my teaching philosophy. Many of you guys have like been commenting, oh, where'd it go? On my necklace. So my grandfather bought me this necklace about a month before his stroke. Sorry. So basically, this necklace demonstrates to me, and I wear it as a symbol. Sorry, deep breath. Within every student, there's something special. They have something to offer. Sorry. I guess just going forward with that in my program, and considering that each student has something to offer the program, they have something to offer me, and I think it's sorry. Every student has something special in them. They have something special to offer me, and it's my job as an agricultural educator to find that within them, and I guess just help them on their journey through life. So next, I want to say thank you to everyone. I spoke about this a little bit in AE 100 with those students, but you are a product of your environment, and I've been very lucky to be surrounded by the best environment. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for helping me along this journey. I especially want to thank my cohort. You guys have been very great to me. I need to take like 10 deep breaths, I'm sorry. Especially this past week, we have been grinding in 104 a lot. So I just want to thank my cohort members for being there for me throughout this entire journey. I want to thank my professors for being there too. So with that, does anyone have any questions? Good God, Nell, get a hold of yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Nell. Again, the online community, if you'll be so obliged to put questions in the chat, Kendra will translate those. Nell, I would start by asking a quick clarification. Whenever you talked about the community, you talked about SAE visits. I would love for you to elaborate maybe a little bit more on those two aspects.
Okay.
Why in the world would we go into the homes and businesses where these students work on experiential learning opportunities? Why would we take all of that time to do SAE visits, and maybe link that to your sense and your purpose behind building community?
Okay. So the question was, how can I tie SAE visits? Why would I do SAE visits, and how do they relate to building my community? So SAE visits are basically me going out with students, seeing what they're doing, seeing what they're up to. And I think that ties into the community because it's showing that I'm there for the students outside of the classroom. I'm more than just a teacher to them. I'm a mentor and someone they can turn to for advice and outside of the classroom. And yeah, does that answer your question? Okay.
We do have one online. Jenna Cookie says, Nell, amazing presentation. We love you. What are you looking forward to most during the week?
Do I have to restate that too?
Preferably, yes.
Jen Kitty asked, what am I looking forward to most student teaching? I guess I'm looking most forward to just the chaos that my intro to ag class will be with those freshmen. I'm excited to see how that plays out, what that environment is like and what I can kind of create there. Those students will be fresh to ag. They have never had Ms. Anderson before. So I'm just excited to see what kind of relationships I can cultivate with those students and just how that plays out with freshmen, I guess.
So let's fast forward to the springtime and say a job down the road opens up and so there's you apply and some other people apply, maybe like 14 other people apply. What makes you different than the rest of those applicants? And has there been anything in your experience here or in your work experience outside of Penn State that has contributed to your uniqueness?
Okay. So the question was, what makes me unique that I think a school should hire me? I think what makes me unique for a school to hire me would be my personality in the classroom. I like to have a lot of fun with my students. So I think that sets me apart from other teachers. I'm not a very formal person. I like to have fun. This is like really weird for me to be wearing like a suit jacket right now. But yeah, I think just like being personal with the students and those relationships I can form with the students, just via showing my personality to them will set me apart from other teacher candidates.
Other questions from the audience or from the panel?
Oh, Nell, I have a question for you. How you doing?
Kind.
What's that?
I said, be kind.
Oh, no, I'm always kind.
Yeah.
As you look at your professional development as a master educator, what is one specific pedagogical skill that you're going to focus on developing?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. As you think about your journey to becoming a master educator, what is one specific pedagogical skill you're going to focus on developing?
So the question was, as I develop as a teacher, what is one specific pedagogical skill that I am focused on? I guess just going back to my goals, being prepared for the classroom. That's an issue for me. I'm not a planner. I don't like planning. It's weird to me. I like going on the fly. So I guess just considering the role that planning plays in the classroom and planning future curriculum and how curriculum connects together will be my goal, I guess, as I move forward.
I'm going to ask you to tell me a little bit more about that. Why do you believe that planning is important?
I believe planning is important because without knowing your destination, you don't know where to start and you don't know how to get there. So as Dr. Curry was speaking with me on Wednesday when I was in sobbing tears in his office, if you leave the dock on your ship and you don't know where you're going, it's going to take you about 6 months longer to get there, and you might never get there. You might end up in, I don't know, the Caribbean or something. So I think just knowing my direction is a really helpful part of planning.
Thank you.
Yes.
We have one on Zoom. Lacey says, Nell, you did such a good job. How do you hope to leave mankind better than you found it?
Okay. Lacey asked, how do I plan to leave Mannheim better than I found That's a really good question, Lacey. I think I plan to leave Mannheim better than I found it by just encouraging more students to join the program. Mannheim already has like a very heavy involvement in their FFA program. But I think just finding ways that I can get more students interested will be a good way for me to leave Mannheim better, especially with those freshmen. I'm starting them out on their ag journey. So I guess just setting them up with the tools to succeed throughout Mannheim Ag.
So Nell, good presentation. And even the most experienced teachers struggle with integrating SAE into their curriculum. What are some ways that you hope to approach that besides the visits, but like your daily lessons? How are you planning to integrate that in?
Okay, so the question was, how do I plan to incorporate SAEs in my like daily lessons and in my classroom? So like I said, I believe in the 3-circle model. I think it's really important. So setting aside time for AET Fridays kind of thing. AET is what we enter SAE information into. So that's how I like track all my students' stuff. But just providing time for students to work on it in class. And then, like I said, with the Mason Bee House, giving them ideas for things. So this would be a cool SAE project for a student. And I guess just throughout the coursework, giving them kind of tidbits of what they can do, how they can apply things to use as their SAEs and connect it to the classroom.
Now, so in AE 413, we talked a lot about chapter 339 and program evaluation, specific to the state of Pennsylvania, being chapter 339. Now that you've been through the class and the assignments and the program handbook and all that, give me your elevator speech of why it is important that we conduct program evaluations for secondary ag ed programs.
Okay. So the question was, why is it important to incorporate evaluations of ag ed programs? So I think it's really important to evaluate our ag programs regularly. A lot of the time, especially with veteran teachers, we can kind of get stuck in cycles and kind of lose sense of our direction. So I think evaluation gives us a sense of direction again. And we all have something we can improve on. We all have somewhere we can go and get better at. So I think those evaluations are a really key component in constantly improving ag programs, especially with veteran teachers and whatnot. So yeah, I think evaluation is just an important way to consider the future and where we're going next.
Hey, now how about a content question? Why don't you tell me the relationship between domains and modalities of learning? You feel good about that?
Yeah. Okay. So domains are the highway for, is that not? Modalities are the highway for domain. So basically that's just looking at how different people learn. So some people learn through visual, hearing, and kinesthetic. And then just focusing on different ways that we can apply this in the classroom. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Laurel. So I think in education, with my mom being a teacher, that's the only experience I have with like teaching. But it's important to include families in the child's educational journey. So do you plan to incorporate your students' families in activities or anything like that? And so like how would you do that?
Cool. So the question was, how do I plan to incorporate students' families into program? So basically at the beginning of the marking period semester, whenever I get them first, I'll send home my program planning handbook with my students. And that basically just gives an overview of the program, what we're doing, and events that are taking place. So parents know right up front what's happening, how they can get involved, and that sort of thing. And then just, asking for volunteers to come to things, and just getting parents involved whenever I can to chaperone and things like that. And parents can also get involved in like SAE events or SAE projects, just like helping their child with navigate that. So there's a lot of ways that parents can get involved, and it's kind of specific on how involved they want to get.
Questions for Nell? Now, I'll end your line of questioning on one more. You talked, I think a theme we've heard a lot of here with you is this notion around community and building relationships. I'd love for you to go back into the time that you've had here at Penn State and maybe give me either a theory of motivation or a little nugget, a little truth bomb for beyond just building relationships. How do you motivate students to want to succeed? How do you motivate students to want to thrive in the classroom and in the FFA program? Give me some knowledge on how you're going to accomplish that.
Okay. So the question was, how do I plan to motivate students in the classroom using, what was it again, sorry?
Give me a nugget of wisdom or a theory of motivation that you're going to use to know how to motivate students.
A nugget or theory of motivation to help push along students. So basically, as an educator, I want to keep a growth mindset as I enter the classroom. So a growth mindset is basically that there's always room for improvement. I can always try again. I can always keep getting better. And I want to embody that so my students can see that and kind of push on to them that even if they did fail this test, even if they didn't do well with their CDE or event, they can still improve. They can still go back at it again in the future. And there's always somewhere to go, and there's always ways to get better. Is that what you were looking for?
Can you join me in thanking Nell for her presentation? Thank you, Nell. You did great. This concludes the public portion of the presentation. You will see that we will continue on Wednesday with Ms. Lauren McHenry at 8:30 bright and early. But this will conclude. We ask that you retire to 2:14 for refreshments.